Middle of the week, you can come here and let the world go by for a few minutes. Our thoughts for today are going to come from the last chapter of Luke. Luke chapter 24. Luke starts chapter 24 with the women going to the tomb, and they find the tomb empty. There are two men there dressed in dazzling clothes. They ask the question, "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is risen." But Jesus isn't there. They leave. They go tell the apostles about the empty tomb. Peter runs to check it out for himself, and he finds that it is empty. And we'll pick up the reading now in verse 13. Now behold, two of them were traveling that same day to a village called Emmaus, which was 7 miles from Jerusalem. We don't know anything about these two except what we read here. Mark mentions it just briefly, this event, but the other gospel writers don't. And they talked together of all these things which had happened. So it was, while they conversed and reasoned, that Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were restrained so that they did not know him. They didn't know who he was. And he said to them, "What kind of conversation is this that you have with one another as you walk and are sad?" We know something about them now. We know that they're sad. They're unhappy about something. Then the one whose name was Cleopas answered and said to him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem, and have you not known the things which happened there in those days?" They were fairly incredulous that here he was, and he didn't know what had happened. Those were big events, major events, to have Christ arrested, tried, crucified, and put in the tomb. He said to them, "What things?" So they said to him, "The things concerning Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death and crucified him." Verse 21 is the thought that I want to focus on tonight. But we were hoping that it was he who was going to redeem Israel. That was their hope. But now he's dead. So how can a dead man redeem Israel? They had seen him do all those mighty works. Heal the sick, the blind, the lame, raise the dead. Much more powerful than any king. Yet they were still looking for someone to redeem Israel. He was in their midst, and they didn't recognize him. They let their hopes, their expectations blind them to the fact that he was there among them. Do we ever do that? Do we ever let our hopes and our expectations prevent us from seeing the good things that are around us? The good things that we have? We've had a couple of lessons recently. Tyler had one in which he talked about lift up your eyes and see the blessings that you have here in the congregation. We had a lesson over the weekend that talked about the blessings that we have if we just look around and see what we have. We have a caring congregation that will lift you up if you need lifted up. It will help you in any way if we just open our eyes and look around. Finish the verse 21. Indeed, besides all this, today is the third day since these things happened. Yes, and certain women of our company who arrived at the tomb early astonished us. When they did not find his body, they came seeing that they had also seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. And certain of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but him they did not see. There had to be lots of confusion, lots of concern. Here was this man that did all these magical things. They had their hopes pinned on him. Now there's a rumor going around that his body is not in the tomb. What could all this mean to them? Then he said to them, O foolish ones and slow of heart to believe in all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not the Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? He's telling them the same things that he has told them before. And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded to them all the scriptures, the things concerning himself. Can you imagine what these men felt like when they realized that it was Jesus? And they do realize that in the next few verses. He was there all along. He's been there all along for us. If we just stop and count our blessings. That's what we need to do. We have so many blessings that come through him if we would just stop and count our blessings. We always want to offer an invitation. We'd like to do so at this time. If something has been said and you have realized that you need to put on your Lord in baptism, this is a good time to do it. If you have a need of prayers or anything about your life that you would like to talk to someone about, there's a lot of people here that are available. If you have any need at all, please come forward now as we stand and sing.